Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and I have a quick St. Patrick's Day card to share with you today, inspired by the design team member Jamie's. So I'm using the Sunburst card mat die, our mushroom dies, the fancy heart dies, our gnome dies, the gnome St. Patrick's Day add-ons, the border dies too, and the card mat dies. I'm also pulling out a couple things later too. So this is the gnome that I put together in that video for the release and review. I'm also using Clipart from Dorky and Doodles. And that is Basil paper. That is all my cardstock came from that. So this is a piece of Paper Trank black cardstock, true black. 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 to give you a landscaped A2 sized card base using my Teflon bone folder and my Martha Stewart scoreboard. There we go. Now, all my paper for my background, or most of it, was done with that Basil paper from that pad. So I cut out those clouds with Paper Trank white cardstock, and I used the card mat die, and then I used that border die to cut out a border piece. Now, I was going to show you that, but unfortunately, it stuck down. I pre-assembled my background, and I didn't cover the bottom half of the little Sunburst parts with cardstock, so the sticky part stuck through and stuck to my clouds, so I had to leave it like that. So unfortunately this was assembled, but you've seen me assemble these Sunburst card mat backgrounds a million times on my blog or in my videos, so I don't think you're missing anything. So there we are. So I'm popping that onto my card base. There we go. And now I used that mushroom die set for the border piece, and I cut it out first with that card mat die, and then I laid the arched grass die cut in the center of it and cut it out, just so I have a little hill of grass for my little scene. So the idea is I've got a hill of grass, and then there's clouds, and then this sort of rainbow sunburst design. And this was inspired by Jamie from our design team at Jaded Blossom. She made a background that I just absolutely couldn't get enough of. So now that is the piece of St. Patrick's Day clip art from Dorky and Doodles. There we go. Cut it out, or printed it with my Epson Eco Tank. Cut it out with my Brother Scan & Cut with a 0.4 border. Makes for a really quick card. And so this is the sentiment on the front of the card. And I just used my AdTech glue runner, just my little cheapo that I'm trying to use up. I've got a few more to use up. And then I'm using Stampin' Up! Dimensionals on the top of it. And there we go. So it says Heart of Gold, which is kind of fun. And then now I'm going to use this adorable gnome that I put together on my blog. Or not on my blog, I guess it's on my blog too, but on the last video when I did the release and review for the February St. Patrick's Day release. Sorry, guys. Blah, blah, blah. The paper for this one, though, was American Crafts cardstock. But it'll all be listed on my blog. There we go. How cute is he? Just these gnomes are just so darn cute. I can't stand it. They're so cute. So there we go. Now I'm going to add a little heart. That is from the Fancy Heart dies, and that's American Crafts, the Christmas foil pad that I cut it out of. I save the leftovers in that envelope with the dies, and I use these little hearts all the time. I'm just going to add it to the front of the little pot of gold because it says Heart of Gold, so I'm kind of spinning on that. And isn't that adorable? Just too darn cute. So now I'm pulling out my Wink of Stella my Spectrum Noir Clear Sparkle, and I'm going to add some sparkle to this little pot of gold. And you'll notice that they're kind of heart-shaped in there, which is kind of fun. So I'm just going to add some sparkle to them. And then I'm going to add some sparkle to that little tiny shamrock that's on the little pot of gold. There we go. Remember, I always say if you're using clip art, you got to make it a little bit special, add a little bit, add some embellishment, add some dimension, stuff like that. Now I'm pulling out my Secure White Jelly Roll pen in a number 10, and I'm going to add a few little highlights to this guy, to the little pot of gold there. Just, I find it just adds a little something, something. I'll add some to his little nose. And there we go. So just adding a few little highlights, add some to his little shoes. Those were cut out with those were cut out with Paper Tray Ink Smoky Shadow cardstock. But all the papers I used will be listed on my blog. Now I'll add a little bit more to this little hat. And how cute is this gnome? It's just the cutest. I can't stand it. It's so cute. And I went with really bright primary colors for that background just because, you know, I have all these pads that I've bought in the past and I keep thinking I need to use this paper. It's crazy. So that's what I decided. And now I'm adding a few little highlights to this little piece of clip art from Dorky Prints and Doodles. Adorable clip art over there. You got to check them out. And I'm filling in actually one of the highlights that were actually on this cauldron. But I find the really bright white ones that when you're using a secure white jelly roll pen really pop. Now I'm going to add some to the tops of those little hearts there too in the little pot of gold. And, you know, really cute stuff. I just think it's just so cute. Adorable. Now I'm going to pull out some glossy accents. And I had a little plug, so I finally had to work that out. And I believe I've got it now. I probably could have cut this out of the video, but it wasn't super long, so I thought, I'll just leave it in. This is me struggling with glossy accents that I have in an extra little container. Okay, so now I'm going to add some glossy accents to this little sparkly shamrock that's on the pot of gold, just to add a little something, something. There we go. And I just find that, you know, like I said, if you're going to use a piece of clip art, you kind of want to make it special, right? So now I'm going to add another highlight with that jelly roll pen. I kind of look around, I kind of decide. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's not like I'm using like a light source. I'm not that talented. I just add them where I kind of feel like adding them. And there you go. So like these gnomes are just so fun. I think they'd be fun for kids to build too, you know. Now I'm pulling out my mini tag dies and the new St. Patrick's Day grid style candied stamp set. And I stamped out the sentiment onto American Crafts green cardstock. And I cut it out using the mini tag dies 3. And I'm just going to layer up my sentiment. I'm going to put that into the inside of my card. There we go. The black is American Crafts 2. And then on the inside, I should have done this earlier, but you know, I wasn't thinking. I've got some wet glossy accents on the card, remember? So I've got to sort of stand that up while I get the center inside. So I've got an acrylic block trying to stop it from getting wrecked. And I'm going to add this piece of, this is just some cheapo Nina solar, it's not even solar white, I think it's just classic crest 65 pound, cut at 4 by 5¼ inches, just so you've got a spot to write. Now you can write in a white jelly roll pen, but I like to put white cardstock on the inside of my cards. And now I'm going to pull out a strip of paper from Doodlebug. I'll list exactly, it's the 12-inch paper line, and I can't remember what it's called. It might be called Pot of Gold or something, I don't know. But I'll list it on my blog so you know. It's a 1-inch strip. I like to add, you know, pattern paper to the inside of my cards sometimes. I think it, you know, adds a little something, something. Makes it a little more special, like I always say. Just trying to make sure this is straight. You know, I'm challenged with that kind of stuff, let me tell you. Going to take off anything extra with my adhesive eraser, which is worth its weight in gold. You need one of those. And there we go. And then I will cut off the overhang with a pair of scissors. And this is real time. I did not speed this up. But like I said, I did put together my Sunburst card mat die before I started the video and the gnomes. So this is just me kind of farting around with placement and everything. And you notice that wasn't straight. These are the things that keep me up at night, right? So I did not show you putting the label on because, I don't know, I forgot to press record. Because this is just what happens to me, let me tell you. And then I also decide that I'm going to pull out Nouveau Crystal Drops in gold, and I don't even tape me putting those on because, like I said, must have been having one of those days where I think I'm pushing the button, but I'm not pushing the button. but I decided to add some gold. I think they're classic gold Nouveau Crystal drops, but like I said, they'll be listed on my blog nevertheless. Just making sure that they're coming out nice and easily. And I went and put them on. And that's about all. So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hop on over to the Jaded Blossom blog and get inspired. The Jaded Blossom store to maybe get your hands on some of these awesome products. And we will see you soon in my next video. Bye, everyone.